Okay, we're live. Hello, welcome to the Cinema Savvy Movie Podcast. I'm Chris Garner, joined with my co-host George Aldridge, Tate Niawa, and introducing some new faces today. We have Naomi Sanders and Tim. I only know you by Tim right now.
Let's keep it that way.
We have the Tim. Tom was meant to be on this today because he had all his picks sorted and everything like that, but he's away filming. He's filming a project, App for Life, I believe it's called. So Naomi was going to jump on today anyway, but she's come up with some new picks, and like a good sporting movie, we've battled the odds. It was an uphill slog, but we're all on here today because we wanted to get Battle of the Brackets done. So
yes.
I'm going to let everyone introduce themselves in a minute, but Tate, do you want to just explain the rules of Battle of the Brackets and what we're going to be doing on this episode today?
Okay, Battle of the Brackets. Basically, it's argumentation. We're going to argue with each other over a bunch of films, which is probably the funnest thing that I can think of to do to spend a Thursday night. So basically how it works is George in a minute will show you the actual bracket. We have head-to-heads on all the different films. They will then progress through based on a three-way vote. So we will have two people voting, and then if the third person will then have to decide who wins. So for this one, it is the greatest sporting film moment. I'm just going to run down the.
Can you see that?
What was that?
Do you want me to go?
Hang on, I'm clicking on it now. There we go. So
if George starts speaking, then.
This is the bracket so far. Do you want me to go for each round and who's representing what?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, sure.
So you have in round one Tate versus George, which is Chariots of Fire, I think that's what it's called, versus the Fighting Warrior. Round two, you have Naomi versus Chris, which is $1 Million Baby versus Bend It Like Beckham.
Oh no, that's versus me.
Oh, is it? Sorry, I read this wrong.
Sorry, there are two $1 Million Baby things, so it's a bit confusing.
Right, let me go for this again. Right, then, this is all round one, by the way. We have Apollo Creed in Rocky IV versus Senna, which is Naomi versus George. We have The Wrestler versus Creed, which is George v. Chris. You have Field of Dreams v. Replacement, which is Chris v. Naomi, which is the right-hand side. You have Raging Bull v. $1 Million Baby, which is Tate v. Naomi. Then you have Rush versus Rocky IV, which is George v. Chris. And then you have Rocky v. The Natural, which is Chris v. Tate. Please take note that Chris has picked 3 Rocky films out of his 4.
I should say this at the start. I am so not a sporting guy, so the only ones I've really seen and really care about are the Rocky movies. So, you know, I'm going to do my best.
Okay, so before we begin, we're just going to have a quick hi to both Naomi and Tim. So if you guys want to introduce yourself.
No.
Want to go past Tim?
Oh,
Yeah,
I'll
go
go. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Naomi.
Oh, me? Okay. Hey, I'm Naomi. I'm also known as the British Chick on YouTube. Just search for it. I'm a film student up in Leeds, and basically love film, music, video games. And I'm kind of excited to be on this, because I've never done this before, so all good.
And
Tim?
Yes, hello. Hello, my name is Tim, also known as Tim TD Adventure. I run a YouTube channel. I do game development. I'm currently, doing game development. And yeah, I actually never saw one of these movies. I'm not that kind of a movie fan, but I'm more a video game fan. But I'll try my best to pick the right clips or whatever I need to do. I don't know what I'm doing here. Sorry.
Tim,
We'll work it out as we go.
okay? As long as you pick my clips, I'm cool with you. But
Sure. Bribery.
Bribery.
So
See, this is the part of the show I love the most, when we all start off as friends before everything gets heated,
Chris,
and we all
I'm not
never
your
speak to
friend.
each other again.
this is like the Cinema Savvy version of a Monopoly game or a game of Risk.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go forward with the first battle. The first battle, which is my pick of Chariots of Fire, the beach scene, versus George's pick of the Warrior, the end fight scene.
Yep, and we've got new rules on this one. We've sort of tweaked it from last time, ironed out some of the kinks, reworked it so we all get to battle each other this time. And we've got 2 minutes on the clock each first, and then it's 30 seconds apiece afterwards for the rebuttal. So take it away, guys. Who's going first?
Take us first, because it's his side.
Yeah, George, if you want to start first.
No, it's your thing. Whoever's on the left goes first.
Okay, whoever's on the left goes first. Okay, I am ready to go. You guys ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Chariots of Fire beach scene might be one of the most iconic sports scenes of all time. First, you have the music. The music is booming in. It really kind of builds up whilst they're sat in the church. And then you see runners sprinting across a beach. At the time, they are practicing for the, I believe it was the, I can't remember which Olympics it was, but incredible scene across the Scottish coastline where they're training. You see the runners just kind of striding through the wet sand, like mud all over their faces, and it truly is inspirational. It's determinational. It is a phenomenal scene. The Warrior looked like a boring fight scene. I'm not gonna lie. It was very generic. I've seen that fight scene in almost every boxing, UFC match or film ever. Nothing really like it. Whilst people copy Chariots of Fire, you see people like parodying that scene in almost every single comedy film that came out for the next 10 years afterwards, and it's still used today. It truly is just a phenomenal moment in cinema history, not only sporting film moment history. To go on further, the impact of that moment, I know we're not kind of meant to focus on that, but throughout the rest of the film, that really does set up the kind of mood the film's going to be striving with. So it's always going to be striving forward, who's going to be the fastest. Shows because one of the characters isn't actually there because of their faith, and that comes as part of the film as well. Overall, it is just a brilliant moment in cinema, and the Warrior scene, I had to watch it again because I've forgotten it. I'm pretty sure that a lot of people have, like, the Chariots of Fire scene running through their mind, especially with the music. Like, if anyone plays that music out, people start mimicking running in slow motion and everything like that. George, if you want to start your argument now.
Yeah, so before I destroy that running thing, so you've got Tom Hardy's one of the finest actors of our generation, ripped as hell. This is pre-Bane, and he learned MMA. He was trained 10 hours in the gym, and then you have a fight against his brother. And okay, let's just say that's the ending. They have a fight. It's MMA, like you said, you've seen it before. However, MMA is now. I'm not a massive MMA fan. I prefer wrestling. The peak of it, all you've got to do is look at people like Conor McGregor, who were all over the news. He got more attention the whole of the Olympics. So in comparison, some people running on a beach, which everyone got sick and fed up of the song, that was played all over 2012 that the whole world got bored of. But never some people don't really care about running on a beach because you can go to Weymouth and do it yourself. Can't really get in an MMA ring and fight. And the Super Saiyaman makes it worse because it just makes it boring. Whereas with MMA, there's editing, quick editing, there's genuine punches, you can feel the tension. And then heading towards the end of it, you know, when both brother wants to win for their own personal reasons, eventually Tom Hardy loses, which you wouldn't think would happen because he's Tom Hardy, he's the box office star, not Joel Edgerton. And then there's this great sort of family moment after years of discontinuity, connect together. And it's such a great ending to a film. I'm not going to talk about the film because I just want to talk about the fight in all honesty. In terms of being one of the best moments, you have epitome of the modern sports just rolled into a 5-6 minute scene packed full of emotions. You've got a crowd roaring in the background, which always ups the stake. Whenever there's a different mood, you don't know for the first time if they're going to win or lose it, and it's just phenomenal. And then if we're going to talk about Chariots of Fire, it's just, I think it's just been there, done that. The whole world's seen it. They're bored of it. It's an iconic sport moment, yes, but it does not mean it's a great sport moment. Iconic and great is completely different.
I guess we're going to final arguments.
So 30 seconds apiece. Make sure you keep it the time. Yeah.
I've just got to say this now. That is a 1 minute or 2 minute long shot, solo shot, focusing on the runners. You can see the determination. You can see some people tripping up, falling. People go to the beach, yeah, sure, but people will probably mimic that scene if they start running on it. Even if it's just like comedy for their kids and stuff like that. It is a scene that has passed through the generations. It truly has. It's inspirational. I think people have already forgotten and will forget the Warrior scene. People will never forget the Chariots of Fire beach running scene.
That's 30 seconds.
Yep. Go for it.
You're right in the sense that they won't ever forget that scene. And okay, they didn't see Warrior. It wasn't a massive hit. It did have Oscar nominations though for Nick Nolte for superb acting. But anyway, that's not the fight scene. People run on a beach doesn't mean they're mimicking that. It means they're running into the water. It's just a scene that means nothing anymore. No one cares about it. It sums up the Olympics today. No one really cares. It was just in your faces that you couldn't avoid.
Okay, I guess that's it, and we'll stop.
Who wants to weigh in on this first, then?
Don't look at me.
Why don't you do it?
Chris, your turn.
Yes,
Okay,
Chris.
this is a really tough moment. Okay, I'm going to say I haven't actually watched Chariots of Fire. I think I watched the first half hour one time and then kind of lost interest. Yeah, kind of lost interest a bit. It is a movie I want to go back to, though, but I did see the beach running scene. On the one hand, I will agree that Chariots of Fire is an iconic moment in film, I would say, not let alone sports movies, and has one of the best soundtracks ever. Vangelis, I believe you pronounce it. I'm not really sure, but I did the soundtrack to Blade Runner, which is one of my favourite soundtracks. It is a great scene and it is inspirational, and I think that regardless of when that movie is made, you can apply that to any sports today. I believe the line in the clip is "hope in our hearts and wings on our heels," and then it goes straight into it, and it's a great moment. Warrior, on the other hand, for me, is equally a great moment, but more in terms of a climax of a story. You do have the culmination of the two brothers and the brothers with the father, and really it's not just a physical fight, it is a fight of this family coming back together, although they're antagonists against each other in that scene. So it's really tough because I love both moments, but if I'm going for greatest sporting moment and based on the arguments, I think Tate made a slightly better argument in terms of that it is very inspirational, and regardless of when it was made, it can continue on. But George, I want you to know, I love that scene to death, and Tate really pissed me off when he says that it's just a fight scene. So he almost lost it based on that, but I think in the grand scheme of things, I'm going with Chariots of Fire.
It's my 4th draft pick.
Yeah.
Okay,
Naomi then?
Okay, well, having never seen Warrior before, I did kind of get a little bit emotional when watching that because I realised how much the fight meant to the characters and just the whole climax of it all. Whilst I had seen Chariots of Fire before, so I knew like what the context of everything was and what the beach scene was. But to me, when watching it, I did kind of have the realisation it doesn't really affect much of the story. It's just, I mean, it's a great shot and very iconic, but it doesn't really connect much to the story, whilst Warrior does. So, I mean, both argued very well, but I'm going to have to give it to Warrior. I'm going to have to give it...
Oh,
please don't let me do this, for fuck's sake!
Tim, decider, first time.
This is what you're here for, Tim. This is your job.
I'm really like thinking about the two things. Like,
based on the argument.
Chariots of Fire is the intro, and the Warrior is mostly the outro of it. That concludes the story, and Chariots of Fire just goes into the story. So it's hard to know, because I've never seen both of the stories, so I'm just going on the arguments right here. Chariots of Fire, the last time I saw the beach running scene was basically on fucking... Sorry for swearing, I shouldn't swear.
Swear all you like, man. Swear all you like.
Okay, I'm trying to... The last time I saw Chariots of Fire, the running beach scene, was when the Olympics was in London, the iconic thing when Mr. Bean was playing on his piano. That was an iconic moment on the Olympic Games as well. The Warrior has more of a story. I'm not even sure where I'm going with this explanation, because I still haven't decided yet. The Warrior is, I think it's two brothers fighting. It's two brothers fighting. There's something with a shoulder going out the fucking thing.
That's MMA.
Yeah, that's MMA. I would say Chariots of Fire isn't really a sporting moment because I never saw the movie. Sorry, Tate, I already see your face changing. But okay, they run over a beach, but in MMA, they do an MMA. That's really a sport you can actually see the real sport doing. The Chariots of Fire is basically we're running on a beach. I have no idea what the story is. So yeah, they're probably training for the Olympics or some sort. But if I would give it to actually a sport that's the MMA was actually in competition. They were actually fighting. You see who won, you see who lost. So I'm giving it to the Warrior 2011 movie. Please. Because the Chariots of Fire, I mean, it's an intro to. I mean, I think I lost a friend right here, but that's my opinion. I was actually on the first argument. I was actually always thinking about, okay, yeah, the Chariots of Fire is probably gonna win. But if I hear the arguments of the of George, yeah, that changed my point of view. So I give it to you.
Wow.
Heroes.
Warrior goes through.
Can I just say, I think George is really happy now because he's actually won one this time.
I won one last time.
He's
No, I
on
won
the
one
board.
last time.
But
Oh,
you
did
never
you
won
last
one.
time? Yeah.
I won one last time. South Park won.
And also, I will say, Chariots of Fire was the one that I thought needed to get taken down because I thought that was a real contender to win. I'm going to be honest, I'm really shocked to see it go, but that's how it goes. That's how it goes.
That is how it goes. I guess
hope
I'm going to fight harder on the other ones.
I hope my arguments were alright because I don't know. Jesus Christ. Why am I the tiebreaker? Like I hope Naomi was going for the. Jesus Christ.
Wait,
Okay.
I think we have a bit of a delay going on. Go on, Naomi.
Not my fault.
Okay, I was like 5 seconds waiting. Not my fault. Okay, there
Okay,
you go.
let's speed things up. Let's move on to round 2, which is going to be Naomi's Bend It Like Beckham versus pulling the plug scene from $1 Million Baby.
Whose pick is that, by the way? The pulling the plug. Is that George's or
mine.
yours, Tate? Okay.
Okay, so Naomi, you ready to go?
With my delay, okay. Well, it's just a very good moment in terms of just coming to the end of Jess's story because she's been having like such a battle between doing what she loves and pleasing her family with their strict religious guidelines. So when it does come to this and she's actually able to go, especially with the blessing from her father, just having that shot of when she gets the free kick and you see like her family, her mom, her sister, you can definitely just have that image of just that she has to get over that. She has to get past this. It's like a personal story for her that she has to go through, and I just think that's very emotional as well as groundbreaking as part of that film. Because it's not something you usually see, especially as it's part of women's football, which isn't a sport that everybody sees at all. It's usually just put to the sideline, sadly. So just having this, and then having like a character just overcome something visually as well as mentally, is actually really something that should be looked at, you know?
You still got 1 minute
I
left.
don't know how to finish things, I'm sorry.
You still got 1 minute left.
Add it out, you've got 1 minute left. And 5 seconds.
I don't know what else to say, it's just there.
I'll go then.
I don't
Okay.
know.
$1 Million Baby. Now, I'll have to admit that this is not a scene involving sport. In fact, it is a scene involving talking about sport and maybe like the lessons that you learn from sport. As far as a sporting moment, this is probably the most heartbreaking moment in the film, other than the sucker punch, which I know that Naomi is going to argue for later. This scene is Clint Eastwood just talking to... Oh, Naomi's gone.
Continue, and hopefully we can get it back.
This scene is just... It's a one-way conversation because the main character cannot speak. She's been paralyzed, and you're just sat there hopeless with him talking about how she never gave up and he's giving up for her. And I don't think you can top that, really, from that film. It's very difficult to, and it's a very emotional moment. Leaves many people in an emotional wreck because of that. And it's one of the lessons you can learn from sport, that sometimes it's okay to give up. It really is. And accepting that and agreeing on that with your coach or with a person who's there for you whilst playing sport is something that is really needed. From the Bend It Like Beckham, I'm going to admit this, it's terribly filmed. I don't think there's a single good football film other than maybe Escape to Victory. I'm pretty happy in saying that. The scene itself isn't filmed very well. Sporting-wise, the camera's all over the place. Like, I think she shoots in the middle of the goal, and the keeper kind of goes past her face like that. As far as sporting achievement, that isn't really showing off what it is. Whilst with the $1 Million Baby scene, I know it doesn't involve any sport. However, it really does hit home to the messages that sport can send. She was a champion, and now she must rest.
That's it. Oh, okay. We have Naomi back right in the nick of time. I guess you missed Tate's argument there.
I don't know why. I don't know why I did that. It just cut out, and I was just praying that it would come back on. I just don't know why it did that.
You've got
it's one of the problems of living
to,
in Somerset, I think. It's just...
If you want to do 30 seconds for a closing statement, you've got a bit of time.
Well, just what for me? Just to close argument.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a sport you rarely see. Great moments. Just showing it visually as film it's meant to do. Just visualize the story. Just show what the character is feeling. You can't get a better moment than that, especially since it's a victory for a character, something that she loves.
Okay. With this one, it's the opposite of victory. It's defeat. It really is. And once again, it's another lesson that you learn from sport. It really does show the emotions that are involved with sport, and it shows what the aftermath of sporting injuries is. It brings it to the forefront of everyone, and it shows that a coach's bond with, like, their player, their performer, can be really strong, and they would do anything for each other. Finally, with the football one, it just isn't very well filmed. That's my closing argument.
Boom. Okay. George, what do you reckon then? You can go first on this one.
It is very well.
I feel football is my favourite sport after Formula One, so it's kind of nice to see Ben Beckham get picked. And unfortunately, they only missed it, but Tate kind of annihilated it in the sense that how it shows football. I like all the religious stuff. Ben Beckham is quite an underrated film, I think. Not many people have seen outside of England. Anyway, he kind of destroyed it by saying the way it's filmed, she shoots down the middle. Sorry, I got that wrong. The keeper kind of withers it out. But I think it was a strong argument about what Tate says, where this film is about losing, and it's about the aftermath of the sport. So I kind of given it to Tate, although it doesn't really feel like I've made a balanced argument. I think it was just a stronger point, but it's unfair on the aim because obviously she missed it, but Tate did kind of destroy that film.
For me, Bend It Like Beckham, I saw Bend It Like Beckham years and years ago and couldn't really remember it all that well. Watching this clip, I did like how it juxtaposed the wedding, editing-wise, against the football match, but ultimately, and I know I'm going to go against myself and be really contradictory with this, but if it had any kind of balls to it, then she would have missed the goal, and it is very cliched at the end. She gets the goal, everything's happy, great, wonderful. But with $1 Million Baby, that scene, as Tate said, it is losing. It is ultimately the acceptance of having that shot, and Morgan Freeman delivers that, one of the best monologues he ever has in film history, about that her last memory will be that she had that shot, she got to experience it, and she will be dying with that as her last thought, and not many people get that. So I think going with that angle that it's about losing even after achieving those heights, I think that's more profound of a sporting moment and what the antithesis of sport is. So I'm going to go with Tate on that one. Sorry, Naomi.
So Tim, you don't have to decide this round.
I'm just gonna shut up. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings.
Okay, we are going to move on to round 3.
I can hear Tate's argument.
Is it okay if we take a 1-minute break?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
George, this will give you enough time to edit the thing and do an update.
I've already edited them both. I was going to wait for halfway through the end of round 1.
Okay, do you want to throw it up now and...
No, wait till the end of halfway.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Right. Right, you know what, I'm just going to screen share it because I can't be asked to wait. Here's the laboratory where everyone's dreams come true. All the memes are from here. Where is it? Here we go. feast your eyes upon this. So far we have Chariots of Fire, which I am so proud of myself for destroying. I have pure vengeance on that scene. I fucking despise it in 300% circumstances. I hate it.
Wow.
The Olympics 2012 were fucking dreadful, and that was on every single medal count, every single night. And that song is what fucking dreams are not made of.
God damn, George just going off on one.
And the fact I just dropped a pipe bomb and Tate was out of the room for the entirety of it makes me
George, you already won. You already won, mate.
Tate, you missed it. I dropped a really passionate speech.
Okay, brilliant. I'm glad I missed it. Okay, so for round 3, we have Apollo Creed's death versus the Senna funeral in what is the most depressing fight I think I can imagine. Are you guys ready?
Yeah, Naomi, you're first.
Yeah, I'm up again. Okay, so we already knew Apollo Creed from the first Rocky, so we're like, oh yeah, we probably he can win again. Yeah, sure, whatever. So, but when we actually hear the punches, like you can really hear them. These are so hard hitting. Like you can almost feel them yourself. Just like, oh my gosh, he's pretty much gonna be defeated. What the hell is this thing that's happened? So when Rocky's like, you should really just go, because we're all like, yeah, he should just get out of there, because otherwise he's just gonna get pummeled. But the way he's just like, no, I'm gonna continue. It's just the way that he's just like, don't throw the towel in, even though like you can see Rocky just really wants to. He just wants to just chuck that towel in there, but because of what Apollo said, it's just no, and you can still. Those punches are just getting harder and harder and harder until it's just finally just keels over and you're like, what? It's so just I can't put it into words, but just how much effect it does have on just the whole series. A death of a character that we already knew, as well as the fact that a character that we saw win. It's just so heartbreaking in that defeat as well. And it's just something that we've never seen before. So, yeah, very much a downer.
Is that the 2 minutes?
That is 1 minute 30, but you can weigh in.
Okay.
Right, I'm gonna go for this. Like I said a minute ago, Formula 1 is my favourite sport of all time. The greatest driver / racer, whatever you want to call him of all time, is Ayrton Senna. And he tragically passed away. He died at a race. But he would have won many more titles. But what this funeral scene shows is the documentary. I'm not sure if it won the Oscar or not for Best Documentary, but Sif Kapadia did do Amy afterwards, which did win Best Documentary. So you kind of know what his documentary style is. Anyway, not the point. The funeral scene kind of epitomizes the nation of Brazil. In this funeral, they've got his the car putting him down, and the whole of the nation's there. They're climbing up Lampo just to get one last glimpse of the hero, because Brazil, it's in a rough state now. It's in a rough state then. He was one of the true joys. You can literally look at Ayrton Senna and arguably the football of that country, and that's what they cared for. And to see the greatest driver of all time die under such tragic circumstances, which to this day they still don't know how he died off that crash. I know the context argument will come into play, but they epitomised it. But there's a montage scene here as well where they're showing clips of him as a boy racing, then him as an adult winning a world championship, all interweaving between this long funeral. And it's such a sorrow because you kind of get emotional, just even if you might not. I mean, I do more because obviously I'm massively into the sport, but it's not a downer. It's just kind of watery. We've lost Naomi again. Yeah, so it's just it's a somber finale to a great documentary, which unfortunately epitomises the real-life situation of it. It's so hard to argue documentary, and this I've just realised. So very similar to Rocky IV as well, though, because they're similar in their own ways, except one's fictional and the other's the real-life greatest of all time.
Mm. Okay,
and I'm done.
Closing arguments, guys.
We've lost a Naomi, so
closing argument.
My closing argument is that the as this being one of the greatest sports moments of all time, it truly is. It defines sport. It's the real life sport, and it's not great that he died, but it's the reception of his death and putting out to the world that, okay, just look at it. The people crying in the crowd, they don't know him, they don't know anything about him, but they're in tears because one of their heroes has passed away, and he won't be able to race anymore, which is the true shame to the entire Formula 1 community. And I think even if you're into F1, everyone's heard of Ayrton Senna. The majority will have. But that's going to be my closing argument.
Naomi, closing argument. Very quickly, you got 35 seconds.
Okay. I know that the Senna is obviously very hard-hitting, emotional moment, but I think it would have been better if you had chosen the moment where he actually died, because I saw the actual clip when he did die, and that is more hard-hitting than seeing a funeral parade. I mean, I know it's emotional, but it's kind of just, and I know it's a hero, but it's just a funeral, and I know it meant so much to people, but that's kind of what it is. Whilst with this,
Stop.
you actually see the progression of death.
That's time.
That's time. No. Let's go Tim go first this time.
With me?
Yeah.
Okay. God damn it. Okay. If I would choose the Apollo Creed versus Ivan Drago, or the death of our Senna.
Ayrton Senna. Yeah.
Yes, Senna. I would be if I watched the both clips, like if I was watching Rocky, I was like, okay, yeah, they're gonna fight. There's a Russia versus America, probably like Cold War, all that kind of shit. Going big towards each other, like, okay, if Russia wins, like, oh, Russia won the Cold War, all that kind of shit. Doesn't matter with me. I don't care about America or Russia or the Cold War. No, if I would pick, like, if I was watching Senna's funeral, I actually cried almost. Just when the time was. Okay, now we just left. Okay, never mind.
Naomi was like, fuck this shit.
He's gone in there because of it.
If I were watching the Senna's funeral, I actually cried almost, and just the text at the end, it's something minor, but it's always like, oh yeah, he died as an F1 driver. The safety got better from then, and nobody was hurt anymore by that day because Senna died, and it just hits me hard because only when someone dies they change the safety up because somebody died, but it's so annoying. So I'm just gonna go choose for Senna, the death of Senna. That's my argument.
Do you want to go?
Yeah, can I weigh on this one because Rocky IV is involved in some way?
Yes.
Okay.
No bias, Chris.
I know that, as George said a minute ago, F1's his favourite sport, but he's usually crafty like this sometimes because he'll have an argument where if I go against it, it makes me sound like a fucking despicable human being.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, we've got Rocky IV, which is one of my favourite movies from the 80s. It's just so enjoyable to watch. But if I'm going to go by the clips, so I know nothing about F1 and I'm an ignorant bastard. I didn't know who Senna was, so my first entry into his career and everything like that was based purely on this clip. So I was trying to play catch up at the start. It was all visual storytelling with me. You get the shot of the truck carrying away the wrecked F1 car and then the funeral, and you're like, oh, okay, something really bad's happened here. Clearly a racer's died. And I thought it was a beautifully put together montage. I'm assuming that's at the very end of the documentary with the whole text coming up and everything like that. And you're right with the shots of him as a kid, everything like that, and how he says that this is real racing, and then the text at the end, as Tim mentioned. But Rocky IV, we have the character of Apollo Creed, and I know we can't bring context into it all, but we've had 3 previous films with him. And Tim was very much right. This is all Cold War. This was made in that time where everything was being made like that. And it's that friendship between Rocky and Apollo. You've got Apollo's pride on the line. He thinks this guy's a joke. He underestimates him completely. And at the time, Apollo Creed was basically modelled after Muhammad Ali. He very much shares the same mannerisms. He's trash talking, he's jumping all around the ring and everything like that. So he is a national treasure to these people. And when he's just getting wailed on, we've seen him get punched in like Rocky 1 and Rocky 2, and he lost in Rocky 2. But these are like killer shots, and as Naomi said, they feel like breeze blocks, like a person getting hit with one of them. And it is an emotional moment. It is emotional to see Apollo Creed go down, and then when Creed comes out, and it's all like the aftermath of that. So I'm gonna, you know what? I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna go with Rocky 4 on this one, and I'm a horrible human being. So yeah, there's that.
Wait, I thought I was supposed to be.
Send death threats to me, everyone.
I thought I was supposed to be the tiebreaker, for fuck's sake.
Okay. So here's how I'm thinking about this. What Naomi said at the end, it's just a funeral. It isn't just a funeral, and I understand that. I love F1.
I know, I'm a bad human being.
But saying that, you do have a point. The end scene of Senna really is the aftermath of the death, and yes, it shows about the safety regulations and everything like that. But with Rocky 4, it's the entire fight scene. It is him going down. It is all the smack talk beforehand. If we're talking about film moments, the best film moment, Senna would win. Based on sporting film moment, however, Rocky wins.
Yes. It's not even my pick. It's not even my pick, and I'm happy.
I don't mind.
Rocky goes through.
The Warrior got through.
The thing is, it was hard to. It was hard to compare because the one really happened and the other was fiction.
Yeah, I know.
So it's like, yeah.
Okay,
But
let's move
it's really
swiftly
hard to
on.
stick with Rocky 4.
Let us move swiftly on, as we have now spent about 40 minutes on 3 fights.
Holy
We really
shit.
do need to pick this up.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, the wrestler's ambiguous ending versus Rocky saying, "I've got cancer," from Creed. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Oh, this is. I'm not gonna lie.
Who's going first? Wrestler.
George.
And go.
Right, so the wrestler isn't just the ambiguous ending. For those that don't know what that is, Mickey Rourke's character, the Ram, has been told that if he wrestles again in the likelihood that he's going to die. So for a start, the final shot of the film is him jumping off the top rope, about to do a move, not knowing if he's going to die or not. Okay, I'm just going to get that out of the way. That's done and dusted. It's a great final shot. It's ambiguous as hell. Let's talk about the fight, because that's what I linked. The fight is glorious, and for those that say wrestling isn't a sport, there is a gold medal in the Olympics for it. So you're
Yeah,
arguing.
but that's Greco-Roman, not like WWE, mate.
Kurt Angle's a golden. WWE.
Sorry, but in the Olympics they're
Sorry,
wrapped
I've
up in
got 2
oil
minutes.
and they wear like Borat mankinis.
Anyway, right, let's carry on. So you've got the climactic fight, and every time he throws a punch or takes one, he's over to the ref. They go, "Are you okay?" And you never really know what's going to happen. But what it shoots is the intensity of how things. It almost mirrors the real life situations of things, not just that final scene.
Oh.
But the real life message from the 80s saying, you know, again, this is that he's lived his life and this is all he can do. It's all he likes doing, and he's given his all to the crowd. He cuts a promo at the opening saying, "No, this is what I do. I would do this until you guys don't want me to do it." They're buzzing. They want him to do it. And the sad thing is they genuinely have no idea that his life is on the line in this fight. But what makes one of the greatest sports moments is that you don't know the outcome. All these arguments respect, well, this is the definitive ending, you know, Senna died, Apollo Creed died, the woman died. I've realised how depressing this fight's been so far. And the ambiguous of this is I really, really want him to win, but I genuinely don't know if he's going to win. And you see it, you keep scratching your head, and you're like, come on, please have won, but we're never, ever going to know, and it's for you to make up your own story about. But it's the tragedy, which is why it's such a prolific moment.
Okay, great.
Okay, first off, this is really difficult to argue because the themes between these two clips are very, very similar, but I'm going to do my very best. Okay, so with Creed, the scene where Rocky is told that he has cancer, that one line alone, that one moment, hits harder than any scene in the ending of The Wrestler, and that's done without any fighting at all. You have this absolute legacy character in the character Rocky Balboa, played magnificently by Sylvester Stallone, and I will argue this was his best performance ever. He was absolutely robbed of the Oscar. You are right there with the character when he is given this news. We followed this character since the 70s, and when this news hits, the look on Stallone's face is absolutely beautiful. And why it's a great sporting moment is he was at the peak. We've seen him at the peak, and then now, even though he's been a trainer and he's been helping out in the gyms, he's sort of come full circle, and it's in this moment where he's lost everything. It's very much like $1 Million Baby, where we have a character where he has just lost everything. He's lost his wife, he's lost his friend Paulie, Apollo Creed. Everyone is gone. This is an absolute shell of a man, and we see him at his worst. This is an opponent that he can't beat physically at all, and it's just absolutely demoralising to see. And actually, I linked 2 clips with this one, which it's still all part of the same scene, so it's not technically cheating. But the moment where he says that if he could have a bowl and reach in there and pick one thing, if he could spend one more day with his wife, he'd take it. His legacy is on the back wall. And everything's gone. He can't move forward. Everything he knows has moved on. The world around him has changed. And then as the film goes on, I know this isn't part of the clip, but it's him trying to get back and fight his own battle. And I think that's more profound than one character sacrificing himself for his own personal pride and his career, along with a character who's fighting for his actual life and the meaning to carry on.
Closing argument, George.
I don't know where to begin. Fighting on for his career, Mickey Rourke's fighting for his life. Sorry, the Ram is. He was also robbed of an Oscar, as was Sylvester Stallone. He was nominated for Best Actor that year, not Best Supporting Actor. And also the difference is that we don't know if he dies there. Rocky's fine at the end of it. And also he's had 6 films to build up to the moment you've got cancer. Mickey Rourke, you see him for an hour and 45 minutes, and you don't want him to die. Rocky, you've had 6 films for that.
Chris?
I think this is a very different side to Rocky. This is Rocky we haven't seen before. Even in Rocky Balboa, which was the comeback and what a lot of people thought was the final Rocky film, he was fighting in that one. This is a very vulnerable side to the character. It's a very different side of the character. And although the film's called Creed and the focus is on Creed, Rocky is a very main supporting character and a pivotal role, not just to the character himself, but also to the character of Creed. And because it's such a profound moment, I think that's why it's one of the greatest sporting moments, because it is one of the pinnacles of sporting characters of all time.
And stop.
Can I shake Chris's hand through the computer?
That was a good fight, fair play.
Okay, I'm going to go first. The Wrestler. Won in every argument. Every single argument. Hands down, no choice. Sorry, Chris.
That's fine, man, that's fine.
Naomi?
This is a really tough one when watching both of these, because I can understand like how you had so much time to build up to that moment with Rocky, and just him having the baton on essentially with that cancer thing. However, I do feel this is being really harsh to me, but using as story writers, as like screenwriters and story makers, using cancer, it just seems kind of just a cheap way out. I mean, there's like so many other ways that people could go out, and it just seems kind of just, oh yeah, cancer, great. Whilst with the Warrior, you actually know that he has that disease, and you're like, you should stop, mate. But you can see that he's just carrying on because it's what he loves to do. And there's just that final moment where he just jumps off. You're like, has he done it? Has he done it? What's going on? And just to have that ending, it's just very poignant with just doing something you love even if you die. That is, I think, is more effective than Creed, so I'm going to have to go with it to Warrior.
Wrestler.
Okay, so, you know what? Tim, just out of curiosity, which one would you have voted for?
Oh, Chris, fuck you. The thing is, you guys have like all these. You guys have all seen the other movies like Rocky. I
haven't. I haven't seen Creed, so.
I've only seen the clips, right? Only the clip.
Yeah,
I saw the clip as well, but if I would, the Creed thing, it's just like emotional. The actor, the face, the Ram is just basically a fucking big cliffhanger. You don't know what is he alive or is he dead. The Creed has like a nice emotional touch of Rocky not wanting to get want to get better because she wants to be with her wife. That's a nice part of it, but I like I would choose for Creed over.
Yes. Okay.
Over.
Chris, that was the dignity, wasn't it, Chris?
You know what? Can I just say I'm not even mad because I was watching it. Wrestler is a phenomenal movie. It was actually that exact scene was one of my picks, but you got to say
it was also one of my picks.
And just watching that clip earlier, I haven't seen The Wrestler in so many years. It made me just want to instantly.
You should have gone from Creed. You should have gone with the final fight.
Yeah.
It's very much a retread of Rocky 1, and I have an argument for Rocky 1 later.
Okay, let's move on to the next one.
Halfway through round 1. So we have 2 quarterfinal ties lined up. We have the ending of Warrior versus the ending of $1 Million Baby. We have Apollo Creed dying versus The Wrestler maybe dying. So far, like I said, it's been a depressing 3 out of 4 rounds.
Let's move on to something slightly happier. Let's move on to The Replacement singing I Will Survive versus the smooth old voice of James Earl Jones with People Will Come.
Okay, so I'm up first, right?
Yeah, you're up first.
2 minutes on the clock. Okay, Field of Dreams is very much an interesting film because as a guy who's not massively into sports, Field of Dreams uses a lot of real baseball players and very much dwells in the history of the sport. So watching the movie as a complete newcomer, I really didn't know what to expect. And I've never really got the hype and the love for the sport of baseball, just going to say that. But this one scene with James Earl Jones, People Will Come, he so poignantly and fantastically delivers what's great about the sport and what it means to so many thousands of people and all the fans out there. And it's that faith, it's that belief that everyone will turn up to this random field in Iowa that means so much to everyone. And that, to me, is one of the greatest sporting moments because it's the antithesis of sports. He says that in the sport of baseball, he says that, you know, America's changed so much. It's like a blackboard that's been wiped clean, built over, and then wiped clean again, but the one constant has been baseball. And it's such a profound speech, and the music by James Horner is my favorite film composer of all time. It's just perfect, and you've got the naysayers, and you've got this one person who's a fan, and he talks about people who are adults now, who were kids watching baseball growing up. I don't even like the sport of baseball, and even I get misty-eyed watching that scene because it's just so just powerful and passionate, and just outlines everything that's great about sports in general. So that's why it's one of my favorite, greatest sports moments of all time.
Okay, Naomi?
Well, The Replacement is such an underrated movie by just having just these group of people just randomly coming together. Well, not really randomly, but just these people that you wouldn't expect to be playing American football just coming together just for this random group. And having them in jail just because of a bar fight. Well, they wouldn't usually get on with each other, but when someone starts just going, first I was afraid, I was petrified, and you're like, oh, that's done. But you wouldn't expect it to be these guys, these manly guys, doing American football, to be singing along and dancing along. I mean, you usually get, in sports films, where you have a moment where the characters suddenly click, and it usually is like over a chat or just something, or like a spousing speech that you usually have if it was a cliched film. But this film is not falling under the cliches. It's going, yes, we're just going to go out and just dance to I Will Survive. We're going to sing it. And Gene Hackman just coming in, just going, yeah, I feel you. So it's like that just moment of just coming together for just doing something unusual. I think that's just that kind of just edges it above just a normal cliche of just rousing speech, even if it is by James Earl Jones.
Is it my 30-second comeback?
I guess we've got 2 minutes left on the clock, but whatever.
Oh, okay. I'll just do 30 seconds now. The scene in The Replacements is a very humorous scene, but that's all it is to me if we're reviewing these purely on the clips. It's a funny, humorous scene, but Field of Dreams, if we're going on greatest sporting movie moments, is the antithesis of what it means to that sport, and it also helps that it is delivered by the dulcet tones of James Earl Jones, who has one of the best voices in Hollywood. It's just an emotional speech, and even to a non-sports fan, it makes me see why that sport means so much to all the fans out there around the world.
Naomi, final closing argument?
You're talking about antithesis of films. I mean, American football players don't usually go around dancing to I Will Survive. Plus, it is, like I said, an underrated movie, so not many people would know the context of it, but just seeing these guys that you wouldn't usually see on a baseball field, on an American football field, get sport right now, me, you don't know sport, but just having them together and just seeing them do that and then finally coming together as a group, that's a very poignant moment. And it doesn't fall by cliche, which is just a nice thing to have, because you hate cliches and just having it normal. And yes, James Earl Jones is brilliant, and I love Field of Dreams, but this moment is just so much better, it's so much fun, because you have that down moment of when they're just feeling down, so why not just brighten it up with a song and dance instead of just a usual speech?
And stop.
I would have continued if I had more time, but...
George or Tim, one of you two go first.
Tim.
Okay, sure. So the thing is about Field of Dreams and the replacements. I'm just immediately gonna say it. I'm going for Field of Dreams just because the replacements brings a group together. That's true, but Field of Dreams brings a whole community together in Ohio at the baseball field. It just, I mean, that's the only thing I can say. The replacements brings a small group together. Field of Dreams, it's a big sport, hongball, baseball. Jesus, I said the Dutch word. So basically, that's just the main part of it. That's the whole community of loving the sport going together. With the replacement, just a group, and I feel Field of Dreams has a stronger point on that one. That's my argument.
Based off Tim's argument, I'm going to go with Field of Dreams. Tim's saying about the community and the other.
Yeah, boy.
You can't think for yourself, man.
I was going to go for Field of Dreams anyway, based on the arguments. The replacements is a very it's a fun scene, but talking about things throughout time and the one thing bringing everyone together being baseball, that edges it.
George, just out of curiosity.
I was going to go Field of Dreams, but I was actually shocked at how good the arguments was for a film that I didn't know existed until 2 hours ago.
Right?
No, seriously, that was a really good argument.
It's an amazing film.
But it's James Earl Jones. It's Mufasa. It's just
maybe if James Earl Jones had been in the replacements, this would have been a fairer fight.
I was actually shocked because that's why I let Tim go, because I wasn't 200% sure what I was going to pick. So yeah, I would give Field of Dreams the edge slightly, but I'm happy my opinion's not relevant.
If anything's come out of this, it makes me really actually want to watch the replacements because that scene was hilarious, and it has Keanu Reeves.
John Wick in it, man.
Yeah, right. Oh my God, it looks so good.
Okay, guys, next round we have my pick of the Raging Bull You Never Got Me Down, Ray, versus another boxing film, once again, $1 Million Baby, with the sucker punch from that film. So that's me versus Naomi. So I'm going to start in...
Final time to try and prove myself to this group. Yay.
3, 2, 1. Okay. Let's talk about cinematography for a second. Sporting film moments need cinematography, otherwise it's just a mess. I mean, we've seen that with like fast cuts, which people do in sports films nowadays. No. What you need is brilliant editing and brilliant cinematography. And not many people do that better than Scorsese. Scorsese being a visually phenomenal director. In fact, one of the all-time great directors. When he went and did a sports film based on boxing, and you've got Robert De Niro, you've got Joe Pesci, you've got all these brilliant actors in, something good was going to happen. And this fight scene may just be the best thing from that film. You've got a character being beaten to a pulp, to an absolute pulp, blood flying everywhere every single punch. You have the zoom out shot where like it focuses in on the opponent fighter and it zooms out at the same time. And you've then got the pummeling, you've got the back chat at the start of the fight, and then at the end of it all, you see his mangled up face, and he goes back over and he says, "You never got me down, Ray," which is true. And that shows how hard and gritty some sports can be. It shows the determination. Even after he has lost, he is still willing to show his cockiness and say, "You may have beaten me to a goddamn pulp, but you did not knock me down." And all I can say for the $1 Million Baby fight, the sucker punch scene, is it's well shot, but it doesn't feel realistic. When she falls down, it doesn't look like she lands on her neck. It looks like she lands on her shoulder, and they just had that in editing. But it's your turn to argue for that now.
Well, actually, I would mostly argue with the fact that women's boxing, not something you would see again every day, and just having that there's someone there that is so brutal and just very much doing like illegal punches. Like she did like loads of illegal moves beforehand, and just having her do that final cheap shot, that you're just like, wait, what? And then you see like she's heading for the stool, and you're like, no, 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 and you can hear the bones crack. Like seriously, you just can hear that crunch, and that's what really makes it. You're just like, what has happened? Is she able to continue with her dream, or is it now all over? Well, we already know that it's now all over, but you know, just like in that moment where you're just watching it and you just can't believe that something like this has happened. It's really hard to watch, in my opinion. And you can see that Clint Eastwood just knows what's going to happen. He's trying to move the stool, but he's just like a few seconds too late. And it's just really heartbreaking. Like you can see on their faces just what it means now, just this few seconds, just because of this cheap shot. And it's just so heartbreaking. Whilst with yours, it's kind of just like, yeah, he's just very cocky. He got a few punches in. Yes, he's determined, but it's just bad face. This is a natural paralyzed person now.
May I point out that mine is a biopic, and that fight actually happened.
Is this part of your 30-second rebuttal?
It's no your character.
Okay, I'll go in with my final 30 seconds. As far as a sporting moment, you have the entire fight scene. It's brutal. And not only that, but it's in black and white. You don't even have to see the blood to know that it is a messy fight. That blood is sprayed everywhere, that he is completely messed up. And sometimes in sport, that's what you need. I mean, it's a phenomenal scene and a phenomenal moment in the film. It really is. Whilst $1 Million Baby, I would argue that the final scene that I was arguing for was a better scene to do with sports. And yeah, sure, this is a bit like the end of The Wrestler. You don't know what's going to happen, but you have a scene afterwards. With this, you have a bit of film afterwards, but after this, it's neither the same. Naomi?
See, I would actually argue that my $1 Million Baby clip that I suggested is much more better because, well, not better, but it shows more of the danger that can actually happen, like in actual time. And it shows how brutal it can actually be, rather than just, oh yeah, it's a fight that he lost, and his face is beat up. And yes, it's in black and white, but early films were in black and white, and they still had a lot of gritty stuff. This was like 2004, and nothing like this had been seen before. And it's still very brutal, especially in concerning that not many people had women's boxing.
That's time. Chris, do you want to go first?
Oh, I'm going first, am I? Okay. Again, this is a very difficult one because there are both pros and cons to each argument. I'll start with $1 Million Baby first. So, I will agree with Tate's point in that watching it again, and I love $1 Million Baby, don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic made film. The neck break is very over the top. For one, who would put a stool down like that in the first place? The neck break is very over the top, and I will say that Scary Movie 4 did kind of ruin this scene for me a little bit, because there's a great scene in that movie where they just like about 20 people break their neck in that scene. It's hilarious.
Get on with it.
But Tate's argument of just the great cinematography, yes, it has great cinematography. Scorsese is a fantastic director, but great cinematography does not make a great sports movie moment. And I think that Naomi's argument of that in just a simple shot, just a simple illegal shot, results in this ultimate catastrophe which ruins this great sportswoman's career. It is heartbreaking to watch, and it's so just immediate and quick. And the one in Raging Bull is very much just, you didn't knock me down. He's just taking these punches. And I get more of an emotional reaction in terms of the grand scheme of things in sporting with the $1 Million Baby clip. So I'm going to go with $1 Million Baby on this one.
George? And I know you don't like Raging Bull, so I'm not liking
where
this is going.
either.
Do you guys want the truth? I haven't seen $1 Million Baby. I don't like Raging Bull, which makes this very interesting indeed, because I just listen. I listen to the arguments on this. Tate got a very good knockdown with the cinematography. However, if it was cinematography, then Batman vs Superman would be the best film of all time. So is Zack Snyder film. So let's not go on our high horses about that. However, it's such a tough argument because $1 Million Baby we've got it on one side. Although it was different arguments, different scene. I think what ultimately won it for me was when Tate compared it to The Wrestler, in the sense that we see the aftermath, we see she passes away. Had it have been an ambiguous ending, then I think it would have been stronger. But I think it was a very good argument for $1 Million Baby, but that line ultimately edged it for what's it called?
Raging Bull. Tim, you've got the decider.
Okay, so it's between Raging Bull and Sucker Punch and Dollar Baby. To be fair, okay, Raging Bull, it was very nice filmed. Very, very, very nice. I really enjoyed it. I even wrote some notes about nice piece of film techniques. But the thing is, as Chris said, great film techniques, great effect doesn't make it a great film sports moment. The thing is, the one that I'm looking at more great sport moments are the story and emotional wise about the sport. With the Sucker Punch, it's just a cheap shot. It was a legal shot, and it basically changed her life immediately. So I'm going for a Dollar Baby Sucker Punch million.
Oh,
I have two.
Oh
Yes.
God! My top two picks are out.
Take that, Raging Bull.
I'm so happy that I'm not the one that gets to annihilate Raging Bull.
Okay, now we've got the Rush Hospital scene versus the Rocky IV montage. Are you guys ready?
God
Wait.
damn it.
Give me who's first? It's me. It's Rush.
Rush first.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go.
Rush is one of the best sports films of all times. Chris even loves this film and knows nothing about Formula One. Anyway, let's get straight to the point. Niki Lauda has crashed. He's in hospital. His lungs are burning. This is a real-life biopic as well of the two racers, Niki Lauda and James Hunt. Anyway, let's cut to the point. So he's receiving this sort of surgery to inhale the tar off his lungs. I'm assuming. I think tar's the right word for it. And you've just got this iconic shot of Niki Lauda in the hospital bed, the metal thing, down his throat like that, and it's disgusting. It's nasty. The sound on it, And then in the background to this, you've got on the screen him watching James Hunt on every single race, but James Hunt winning and Niki Lauda getting crazy because he wants to win that world title, and it's just the montage between the two of them, where Niki Lauda is telling him, give me more, because he's so desperate to get back into the car. He wants to win that world title. As far as the sporting moment goes, it's not the glorified ending that the film has, but it's the passion and care that this guy has. He wants to be world champion. He's doing anything. He's been burned alive. His life has forever changed, and he's there in the hospital, the doctors are telling him this isn't right, but he's forcing them to get it out of him so he can get back into a car as soon as he can. While you've got James Hunt on the podium celebrating every single win with champagne, and then it's the intercutting between the two of them. It's a fascinating montage, and it builds and builds and builds towards the climax.
And Chris?
Okay, right. I've been waiting for so long to do that, guys.
Holy shit.
I've been waiting for so long.
Is that your
Okay,
argument
right.
done, Chris?
I've got a Niki Lauda car, Chris.
Wow.
Okay, you want to talk montages? My pick is the greatest montage ever filmed, ever made, and ever put on screen. We've been on such a Debbie Downer with these picks, like all these, disasters, deaths, everything like that. Sometimes you just need an enjoyable fucking training montage, and Rocky IV absolutely delivers in spades. Not only have you got the glorious just location shots all the way through, you've got Stallone in his peak physical condition in his entire acting career. He's squatting logs, he's running up mountains and yelling the name of his arch nemesis at the top of his lungs. You've got Niki Lauda lying in a hospital bed just watching screens and being mad at his opponent that way. Rocky runs up mountains, which is pure dedication. What else? Vince DiCola's score is phenomenal, and I defy anyone to watch this scene and not immediately get pumped and just want to go on a jog or go on a run, even if you're not fit, even if you've never ran in your life. This movie will make you want to do it. And as a sports movie, I think a sports movie has to be inspiring, and there is nothing more inspiring than the training montage in Rocky IV. It's glorious. I love it, and I find myself watching it all the time if I want that burst of motivation in my life, regardless of what I'm doing. It's fantastic.
Closing arguments?
In terms of a great sport moment, it's not the best moment of Rocky IV. It's not the best moment of the Rocky franchise. And you're saying you're really right. Niki Lauda can't scream off his lungs because he's having the task sucked out of them, so he can get back into the ring story once. He hasn't run off to the mountain. He's in a hospital bed trying to get back into doing what he loves and like hiding in the forest.
Rocky has had to overcome the death of a friend, and you know what? It doesn't have to be the greatest scene in the entire history of Rocky. It just has to be a great sporting moment, and this is absolutely what it is. It's Rocky training like an animal. It's showing that pure human dedication, overcoming the odds, overcoming the environment, and overcoming one's personal anguish to take on this impossible task of beating Ivan Drago. And that, to me, is a great sporting moment. It's fun, it's entertaining, and it's just immediately instills you with that motivation. Similar to the Chariots of Fire scene, but that's not in the argument anymore.
I've got a few seconds to have, and I didn't do that.
You do.
Okay.
Right, a montage is two things. You spoke about Rocky, you have not spoke about the other half of the montage, which is Ivan Drago.
He's getting juiced up. It's good versus evil. You're on Rocky's side all the way through the movie. You've got Rocky training naturally, and Ivan Drago taking steroids and becoming the ultimate super Russian. Niki Lauda, although it did happen and it is very brutal, sometimes you just need that entertainment in a sports movie, and the training montage does that in spades.
And stop. I'm going to go first here and say I prefer the Rocky moment, but Chris, you didn't argue for it. Not enough. And George completely destroyed you in one sentence where you said you didn't even mention half of what the argument should have been based on. I'm going to go with Senna, because that was the better argument.
Rush.
Rush.
Rush, that's the one.
Greatest sports movie, man. That's what we're arguing for.
Movie moment.
Movie moment, yeah.
Yeah, I know, but you argued in that movie moment, which is about a 6-minute long montage, it's about two halves of one coin, and you only argued for one half of the coin, whilst George argued for both halves of his coin.
Okay, that's fair.
Naomi?
Well, it's kind of tough because I had already seen the Rocky IV montage, but I haven't really seen Rush. But looking back, it is kind of... You were arguing, Chris, that it makes you want to go running. I would argue that Gonna Fly Now from Rocky 1, where he's doing that jog, that's more likely to make me want to go run rather than this, which is just clip, 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 clip. Yes, it's showing a character losing strength, but not enough for me. Whilst Niki Lauda is basically fighting for his life, so I'm gonna go with Rush, Niki Lauda.
It's just glorious.
Rush has gone through.
Tim, I love you. Speak.
We are into the final fight.
Oh no, Tim.
Wait, Tim.
Oh, come on, you don't need to hear me.
I'm hearing you.
We do.
So
One word for the film.
I forgot the first movie.
Rush
Oh no,
versus
no, it's
Rocky.
it's After the Crash, isn't it? Well, Chris was talking about desperation about beating him. Well, Niki Lauda had like desperation to get back in the race, but not really being victorious. So I'm going to the F1 pilot.
Yeah, you know what? That's fair. I love Rush to death. And when I knew that I was up against Rush, and that particular moment from Rush, I was like, I've instantly lost this.
I'm not
But
going
you
to
know
lie,
what?
though, Chris,
Yeah.
if you argued that correctly, I had that as the
Yeah.
one to win the overall
Yeah.
Did you not see
Oh,
my
man.
hand? Did you not see my hand gestures? Only then did I realise that he didn't bring up Ivan Drago.
thing. Yeah.
Well, you know what?
Okay, guys.
Can I make
Yeah.
the worst pun in history?
Oh,
From
gee.
now on, the gloves are coming off. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Chris, you are now fired from the Cinema Savvy Movie Podcast.
Isn't he the owner of it?
I'm shutting it down, boys.
Okay, guys, final round, or final one of the first round, is Adrian from Rocky versus the home run from The Natural.
So I'm up first again. Okay.
Go.
Okay, Rocky, for me and for many people, is up there, probably in the top 3 of iconic sports movies of all time. And this one moment from it, maybe Gonna Fly Now, but that's a training montage. This is the entire crux of the whole story. And what's great about Rocky, and it was so ahead of its time, you can have your cliched moments like in the one that you're arguing for, where, yes, they win, fantastic, fireworks, slow motion, everyone's happy. Rocky loses, and that's what's great about that film, because he wasn't trying to prove himself to win. He was just trying to prove that he could go the distance with the world heavyweight champion. And you see that at the end, like the character's not happy that he won or that he even got this far or anything like that. You've got all these microphones in his face and he doesn't care. He's just moving them aside. All he wants to get back to is Adrian. And it's such a heartfelt moment. It's such a great moment. And it's a great sporting moment because it's the underdog. It is the classic underdog story, and a lot of people that watch Rocky now, the original Rocky, call it cliched, but we need to think that this was one of the first films that did it. And, you know, the film was filmed in 28 days, and it's just had such this massive impact, and it's all down to the character of Rocky and the heart of the character, and that ultimately culminates in this one moment. Your film is, as I said, it's a very well shot, it's beautiful, the score's fantastic, but it is, again, like we argued with, sorry Naomi, but with Bend It Like Beckham, it is just, you know, a team winning. And I think that Rocky has a bit more bite to it in that it had, you know, the gumption to have the main character not win and just focus on the love of his life, Adrian. And it's such a great moment in film history and sports history as well. So that's why I'm arguing for Rocky 1.
Okay, Rocky 1. The moment that you were meant to be arguing for was just the Adrian thing at the end. Let's disregard the fight because the clip you sent did not have the fight in it. It was just Adrian at the end. Who's the winner?
I didn't mention the fight.
You said that he lost the fight. All you see is who's the winner.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Apollo Creed. Oh, I'm gonna go see the one I love. I know that you guys don't know baseball, but let me put this into perspective. It's like the final moments of a football game. The last few seconds on the clock. This guy is old of his career, and he has got to finally prove himself, and all of the emotions are just blasting through in that moment. Everyone in the crowd wants this person to hit the ball. He wants to hit the ball. The pitcher is ready to throw. It all goes slow, it all goes quiet. He throws it, he hits it, and all in slow motion, which is glorious, he manages to win the game. Now, I know that baseball isn't big for you guys, but in America, this moment is huge. Absolutely phenomenally huge. The Rocky moment, yeah, sure, it's a fun moment. He goes and says, I love you, and stuff like that. This moment is this guy's career on the line. How will he be remembered? How will he be remembered? He will be remembered for that one defining moment in that one defining sport. Solo that moment out and put it up against your moment, and that moment will win every single time. It is just showing just what it means to win. Everything goes into slow motion. Everything goes quiet. The music starts blaring finally when that moment happens. The crowd cheers. And it shows that, well, sport, the idea of sport is to win, yes? I know we've had loads of downers here with like moments where it's okay to lose and stuff like that, but it's okay to lose, it's better to win. And in this moment, he wins. And not only does he win, but he wins the affection of the whole crowd, he wins the respect of all the other players, and he can finally sign off his career. Your closing argument, Chris.
If Rocky had have won at the end of that film, the entire impact of that film would have been lost. You're arguing for a guy that has to win. You say he has to win, he has to get this. The beauty of Rocky and why it's such a great sporting moment is that he really doesn't care. All he's trying to prove is that an underdog, a lowlife really from the streets of Philadelphia, who everyone doubts, can make it up there, can rise to the top, and he can go toe-to-toe and can go the distance with the greatest sportsman, the greatest boxer in the world at that time. And he proves that. He's proved it to himself. Everyone loves him. He lost the fight, but he wins the crowd over. And it's just such a more powerful moment that a guy wins.
Okay, look, he wins. Like, it's brilliant. With Rocky, yeah, sure. But then that moment is just kind of goes away because he has like 6 or 7 other films going on at the end of it. And what
I'm arguing for the moment, not the context.
You're arguing for the moment, yet you're saying that all of the film has been building up to that point. You solo out this one moment alone. All you see is a man stood there. He looks quite old. He must be near the end of his career. Rocky, he's a plucky young lad. He's got another 7 films in him. He's got a franchise behind him. With this one single moment, he hits the ball, he wins the game. That's my argument. Okay.
Handshake.
Jesus Christ.
Tim, you can go first.
When I was watching the final home run, right? You know, the only thing I was asking myself, why the fuck are every line exploding all of a sudden? Because the ball just hit one line, and all of a sudden every line explodes.
It's meant, if I may, very, very quickly, it's meant to show what it's like to feel when you win. Yeah,
but I think that's a little bit over exaggerated. I don't even know English. But the thing is, like, if you see, we're comparing a loss to a win, but the loss is still like, okay, it's about the love, I suppose, and the win is just like, I'm going for Chris Tatum, man. I don't know, I like him more. Okay, I don't really have an argument about it. Like, but Rocky is just basically, he lost the fight. He doesn't care about the fucking press wanted to talk to him. He just wants to go to Adrian, and that's a special moment. And the Homer is basically, I don't know, why was he bleeding?
That's a good point.
He was bleeding for some reason. He had like on his outfit, he had like 3 red dots for some reason.
I thought he got stabbed like Gladiator style at the end.
I don't know what happened, but like he hit a home run. I saw it coming. I think like most of the people saw it coming, the final home run. But I don't think anyone saw coming Rocky lose a fight. So I'm sorry, Tatum. I hope we can still be friends.
I'm unsure about that, Tim, but okay. I'm gonna let Naomi make her decision now.
Me, okay. Well, when I was watching that clip from The Natural, I did kind of ask myself, do I actually care? Because the whole title says The Natural, so it kind of gives the implication, oh yeah, he's a natural baseball, therefore he's going to win. Whilst with Rocky, you don't know whether he's going to win or not, and the fact that he loses a big fight that is basically the whole film is leading up to, and yet he doesn't care, he just wants to see the woman that he loves. That is more of a moment that I would see as a great sporting moment rather than just a guy. I mean, I like baseball. I visited the whole place for the stadium for the Red Sox, Boston Red Sox. But I just Rocky. Sorry.
George, out of curiosity, what were you going for, man?
Okay.
Yeah, there's
reasons why. It's just the argument was better. Was the whole, he didn't win, but it's the moment of Adrian. Although I'm not the biggest. Actually, I like Rocky. I'm not Chris though. But that moment, had more than almost the entirety of the Rocky series. That one line. There's a reason Mick Foley shouted it when he won the title. Although obviously Rocky didn't. Mick Foley did. But yeah, different story. But guys, if you give me about 20 seconds, we have finished round 1. So
Yes.
who are the rules for round 2?
Rules for round 2. We're speeding it up because I'm hungry. It will now be 1 minute. Now be 1 minute per argument, and you can rebuttal at any point. So you can cut in on the other person, and you can counter argument them immediately. Which means it'll be I'd say like 2 minutes in total, where you can just argue amongst yourselves.
Are we having the rebuttals as well, or are we just doing 1 minute?
We are doing 2 minutes, but you can rebuttal at any point.
Okay.
And if you look at the screen now, half of some of round 1 disappeared, but we have a clear quarter final, which is Warrior versus $1 Million Baby. Apollo Creed dying versus the wrestler maybe dying. James Earl Jones giving a glorious speech versus someone almost dying. A guy that's almost died in hospital versus a guy that just lost a fight.
That was nice. That was
profound.
That was
Okay,
beautiful.
let's move on to the first fight. I need George to bring back up his thing because I haven't got it
You guys-
uploaded. The first fight is the Warrior fight scene versus $1 Million Baby pulling the plug.
I get to sit this one out then.
Right. Before we do that, do you want me to send you guys the picture on Facebook so you've all got reference?
Yeah,
if,
sure, yeah.
if you would be so kind, yes,
Yes.
please.
I'll just look at it.
Naomi, tell us your 3 favourite films.
3 favourite films: Hot Fuzz, Pulp Fiction, The Bling Ring. Do I need to read?
Do another 2 because I'm still sending this picture.
Wow.
Okay, I got the picture.
It's done. Don't worry, Naomi, it's done.
We're doing it live. We're so professional on
We're
this.
doing it live, damn it.
Yeah. I mean, a baby's right.
Okay.
Right, we have a picture missing, don't we? Or
Yeah, but-
Yeah, we got it. Okay, are you ready?
okay.
Are you ready,
No.
George?
No.
Who am I fighting?
Me.
Ooh.
Hello.
Okay,
Right.
you go first. Go.
So obviously we've spoke before about the fight in Warrior. It's the climax to the film, as is $1 Million Baby. Before you all add that in, it's just a brilliant fight and the sort of passion from it. You've had a film building up the 2 brothers. You're not going to know who's winning for the entirety of the film. They've each got a different backstory. One's doing it for the fact, you know, he wants money for his family. He's a poor teacher. He's been suspended.
We
Whereas-
don't know that from the clip.
True, we don't know that from the clip, but what you do see is his brother say, "I love you, Tommy." They reconcile. Tommy taps out, although his arm's already broken at this point. He realizes, you know, it's his brother and he loves him, and ultimately, you know, from that one moment of him saying "I love you" and him tapping out, you know, he's given up the greed. He wants to win with his dad in the corner, smiling down on them both. It's fantastic, and with the way when Joel Edgerton walks Tom Hardy out of the ring. The true sign of a winner is being there with the loser. Take it, because at the end of the day, they're brothers. They didn't want to fight each other. He didn't want to do it, and he still snapped Tommy's bone, and only then Tommy did tap out to him.
This is a fight that she can't win. Maggie cannot win this fight. She has no chance. And with your fight, it's, oh, who's going to win the fight? Oh, okay, he won the fight, and there was these reasons, and it's reconciling. This is her giving up, which is a key lesson you learn from sport. And my point, my clip, is all about learning a lesson about sport. You've got Morgan Freeman saying she fought her fight and she lost her final fight, and that's kind of the sad moment. You've got Clint Eastwood being the one to say,
Hold on, are we allowed to butt in? Does someone say we can butt in?
Yeah, you can butt in, go for it.
Yeah, the thing is, that whole film builds up one character. This film equally builds up 2 characters. You don't know who's going to win.
Film, not moment. We're going with moment, not the whole
We've
film.
done context before, Tate. We've done context before on the left side.
Yeah, fair enough. Even within the moment, you still don't know who's going to win because it's an equal fight, whereas that film is solely about her. With her lying in the bed, you know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen with these 2 in the octagon.
Okay, may I have an extra 10 seconds because you took up
Go for it. No, go for it. I know.
on that one.
I didn't like it, but I need to say.
With $1 Million Baby, you're learning a lesson. With The Warrior, it's just another fight scene. This is a fight scene that you don't see in many other films. You see it, mind you, in Rush, but it's a fight scene that finally this person cannot win. and the coaches understand and people understand that, and it's a pivotal moment. It's a key. It is the key moment, and it's just heartbreaking to see that she cannot win this fight. That's it.
Okay. Shall I weigh in first?
Can I just say I felt really rude putting in, but I kind of had to.
Sometimes you just have to.
Yeah.
I had to butt you out for context twice.
Yeah, I know. I realised I was trying to get it. I did turn it eventually into that scene, but yeah.
Maybe that's because
we
your
did
moment
argue.
is all context.
We did argue that we could bring in context.
Yeah,
we agreed on that as long as we still focus on the clip. Okay, I was actually with Tate for most of this in that he was bringing it to actual sporting moment and what it means to sport, but man, I gave you a yellow card the first time you said it's just a fight, and then you said exactly the same thing in this one, so I'm giving you a red card. It's not just a fight. The fight is just... it's immaterial. What's important there is the characters and the brothers fighting and the family reconciling, possibly. I mean, they don't even go to their father at the end, so for all we know, it could still be all up in the air, and it is left very ambiguous as to what happens with Tom Hardy and everything like that. But that image of the fight and action of people against each other ultimately bringing people together, I think that shows a much more profound moment in sport and what it can do with these two rivals ultimately becoming allies at the end. So I'm going with George on this one.
Tim?
No, I'm the tiebreaker, man.
Okay, Naomi.
Naomi.
Okay. Oh, this is really tricky because both of these are really good, but I have to kind of give it to Tate because whilst Warrior is a battle between two people, this is more of a battle between Maggie and herself. With just, do I want to live or do I don't? And then just having that final decision of don't. And then just having that coach who's just meant so much to her, just give her those shots of adrenaline. Just seeing that she's so grateful for it, I think that's more poignant because he could have just up and gone, find someone else new to train, but no, he stuck by her, and he's the one that's killed her, essentially. So I'm going to go with that.
God damn it, guys, don't let me do this.
Come on, Tim.
Why did I even agree on going on this show, for fuck's sake? Not that I'm not enjoying it, but... okay, so it's between two brothers fighting in the ring, and MMA or whatever it's called, to an emotional scene, in the $1 Million Baby. That's a hard one because, oh my gosh, this is
both have emotion.
The argument.
If we're looking at only the clips that we got sent through, if someone would just see the clip about $1 Million Baby, do you actually think it's about a sport? Because
the all the way through.
When I watched it all, I watched the link you sent me, Tate. Don't put it on me right now. But what I watched was just basically a guy coming in the hospital, giving someone an adrenaline shot, and all of a sudden Morgan Freeman appears. That was my point of view. And Warrior is basically two brothers fighting, actually doing a sport. I mean, it's emotional both sides, like two brothers fighting, they don't want to fight, but I'm going to Warrior because $1 Million Baby, where is the sport? I mean, sorry, Tate. I mean, I'm really fucking...
Based on the argument, Tim. Based on the argument.
Yes, I know, but I saw what I saw, you know. I think Warrior won this one.
So I got taken out on a technicality on Chris, and then a technicality on Tim.
I'm never gonna be like invited to the show again. I think. I reckon this is the first and last live stream. Jesus.
No, I loved him.
Oh yeah,
He's gone to get a steak.
Jesus.
He's gone to get a steak. I can understand why.
I think Dayton just rage quit like in the live stream. There he is.
Okay.
Sorry, Dayton.
Okay.
I just watched the clips, and I asked you, like, on the clips, I asked you what is happening, like, I asked you, because I didn't have any input of the clips, so,
Okay, next fight we have Apollo Creed's death versus the wrestler's maybe death, maybe not death. Are you guys ready?
I have the rematch of the one that defeated Sir.
I have a text. I have two texts.
Naomi, you go first. I don't want to interrupt by mine.
And go.
Okay, fighting against Warrior is a toughie, but with Warrior, you already know that he's going to die. You already have that build up towards it, and you're like, you can see
Wrestler.
like,
Rocky.
Wrestler.
yes, he's going to die with this. But with Rocky, this moment, you're like, you don't know that he's going to die. So when he does, it's more shocking than with Warrior, because this is a man's choice against the fact that he probably will die. Whilst with Apollo Creed, again, you don't know who's going to die, and yet he still just keeps on fighting. Both are determination, but I have to say that Apollo is a bit more just hard hitting, because you knew the character so much from the other films, and then just seeing him get brutally smashed. Because I mean, Warrior is wrestling, and wrestling is mostly fake. So I'm just going to say it out there, it's fake for entertainment. Whilst this boxing is just... yeah.
Wrestling is not fake, it's scripted. They
That's
die.
1 minute.
This happens. This is not the point. Right, let's go straight to the wrestler. You're right, Apollo Creed. We do know that you know he's going to die, because they've built up Dolph Lundgren so much. You know he's going to massacre him. You know he's going to die. The almighty American, and you know it's going to finish with Rocky beating Ivan Drago. So there has to be tying up a loose end, which is tying up Apollo Creed. Best thing about him dying is we've got a decent story in Creed from it. Anyway, back to the wrestler. You don't know if he's going to die. And we don't know if he's died. He might be alive. He might be in a medically induced coma for all we know. But the whole point of that ending is ambiguous, and it epitomizes he's doing what he loves. Apollo Creed is doing it because he loves the attention. He's not doing it because he wants to fight. Doing it for America, Team USA, July the 4th.
Well, cut in there. He obviously started out doing boxing because he did love it, and continued to do it because he was successful.
But he didn't
and
die.
his back to
He loved it.
And stop.
Jesus Christ.
That's a good one. I like that. It's really hard because they're literally the same, aren't they? That's like the death corner.
Am I going first?
Tate, you're going first on this one because I still need to decide.
Based on the arguments, I'm actually gonna have to go with Naomi, purely because she does kind of say it's wrestling, and throughout the entire wrestling clip, you have like the other guy saying, "Just tap me out, like just put me in a lock," and with the Apollo Creed one, like it's his like own personal choice to continue on, even though he knows that what he's risking. I know that that's exactly the same in the other one, but she kind of did hit you hard with the wrestling being kind of scripted, which it is, and the boxing was not scripted.
It is scripted because it's a film.
I know, but based on what she said, that the wrestling scene was scripted and the boxing scene could not have been scripted, I'm going to go with the boxing scene.
Okay, wrestling is scripted, yes, but these men and women put their bodies through absolute hell every time they're in the ring to bring entertainment to thousands of fans. So I'm not.
I'm sorry, but the South Park episode of wrestling kind of destroyed wrestling. Anywho.
Wrestling got destroyed when the owner chose to reveal it as being scripted, so he didn't pay sport tax.
Yep.
That's the 80s there.
What's important to me in this situation is, and this isn't bringing context into it, this is purely from the clip. Both are very proud characters, but there is one fundamental difference. Apollo Creed has everything, and even in that moment, he looks back at his wife, and he kind of really doesn't care, and you know he's got kids too. He is literally just in that ring because boxing is what he is. However, on the flip side in wrestler, we've got a character who is wrestling is everything that he is, but he has no one, and it's that moment where he's getting ready to do his finisher, and he looks up, and I forgot the name of the actress. She's a fantastic actress. She's the one who plays Aunt May in Captain America Civil War. Yeah. He looks up, and she can't watch him go through with this, and he looks up there, and it's brilliant acting by Mickey Rourke, where the look on his face is like, well, if she'd have been up there, I probably wouldn't do this, but this is what I am, everyone's cheering for me, and ultimately, however you want to read it, I read it that he dies at the end. I think that in a sporting moment is much more profound, because I think that Apollo Creed kind of did it for pride, whereas for the wrestler it was what he is as a sportsman. So I'm going to go with the wrestler on this one.
Chris just outvoted Rocky.
I know. Believe me, that's a big deal for me. That's a big deal for me.
Tim.
Sorry, Tim.
I'm always in these hard spots. Like I don't want to hurt people, but I don't hurt people because it's movies. It's not like it's personally of you. But
Tim's a lover, not a fighter.
Yeah, I love you all, guys. I just want to say that all. I don't want any hate.
Except me, Tim. You don't like me anymore, do you?
I do like you.
Oh, no, wait. No, it's the other way around. I don't like you anymore.
Yeah, I think it's the other way around. If I would choose between the Apollo Creed fight, it's the Apollo Creed fight, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
The wrestler fight, I would say it's both the same thing, because the wrestler has a chance to give up and the Apollo Creed has a chance to give up as well, but they both don't do it. But there's also a chance that if I heard correctly, like the wrestler, the Ram, was gonna die eventually, or
he was gonna die if he got back into the ring.
Oh right, okay. So that's the thing. Like, I'm just gonna cut it off, and I'm just gonna go for the wrestler.
Okay.
Wow.
It goes through.
I'm not good in argumenting. I mean,
God, I was not having Apollo Creed knock me out twice in a row.
George is just absolutely living the dream right now.
Let's be honest, can we take a moment to say that I've waited a good year and a half to have some kind of sport talk on this channel?
Yes.
It's because I'm here. You win all of a sudden.
Okay, next round we've got People Will Come versus $1 Million Baby, The Sucker Punch. Are you ready, guys?
Wait, People Will Come? Hang on.
Yeah.
What's that one?
James Earl Jones speech. Okay, I believe it is the James Earl Jones speech first, so Chris, go.
Oh.
Yeah, okay, without running the risk of repeating myself, but this, in one monologue, basically voices everything and that you can apply to any sport, and why it's great and why it applies to so many. $1 Million Baby is a very shocking moment, but ultimately it is very over the top. It's very theatrical in its delivery, and you do kind of look at it and think that how realistic would this actually be? In terms of a sporting moment, that is, if we're looking at just the clip of that moment, it's ultimately just someone getting, a legal blow, and unfortunately they break the neck, and that's it. But with Field of Dreams,
Let me just cut in there, because you're saying it's still as gruesome, even if you hadn't seen the film before. If you just had that, you would just be still seeing someone who is paralyzed. Now you just see someone, you can hear those bones crack. You see that for the first time. And it is in a sporting moment. While Field of Dreams, the sporting hasn't begun yet. Like, you get the baseball players there, but they haven't really started the big game yet. You have James Earl Jones just saying words. Yes, it's a great speech, but it's not in the context of playing a sport. It's in the context of Joey can actually continue before the big event.
Which makes my pick unique in that it is still a sporting moment, but doesn't have to rely on an actual event of the sports happening. What it is, and what's great about James Earl Jones's speech, is what sport means to people. And we've got so many clips on here of actual sports happening, of training, of people in hospital and things like that. James Earl Jones is very simple, very personal, very to the point, and what resonates with everyone, even a non-sporting fan like myself, is truly profound. And Field of Dreams is just such a great film on its own, but this one moment, it always brings a tear to my eye every time I watch it. It's just, he sums everything up perfectly, from nostalgia factor to just that urge to just go to this field, to just witness this game, to just believe.
Let's say some more things.
Yes. Yeah, go on. That wasn't fair, yeah.
Okay, basically what I was going to say is that you talk about sporting moments and just the urge to do sport. That's basically what Maggie wants to do in the whole film. She wants to do women's boxing, and that is sadly what causes her downfall. Like, if she had that speech and just, basically, if you think about it, like, if she had that speech and then go up there and then had that downfall, that would have been very much like, oh, great, yay, well done, oh dear, what words have you got now then, James Earl Jones? Because, like I said, basically just will they, won't they on the house and the field, rather than just a person really wanting to do women's boxing and then just having that dream taken away because of
30 seconds extra. That's 30 seconds extra. I'm cutting you off. Tim, you can go first on this one.
Yes, so it's between a gruesome moment in a boxing match and just the beginning of a whole community, or almost the end of a whole community of baseball. The first thing I want to say, a gruesome moment in sport doesn't make it a movie sport moment. It's just something happened. It's the same thing as basically. I mean, the Field of Dreams is basically, we need to hold the field. There's gonna come people. There's a whole community, as I said before. If I was comparing it to other stuff, it's about the beginning, and you actually see the baseball players just slowly just agree with the speech, because they slowly come walking and actually stand together next to that man who gives the speech. I forgot the actor. I'm sorry, I'm not a big movie fan, but you were really praising him. So, but no, yeah, the speech and the guy who gave the speech and the players all stood behind him, and that was that's what I believe a great movie sports moment than just a gruesome moment in boxing where you don't really know, because it's the clip that you don't know the whole story of it. It's the clip, and I just see a boxer getting a sucker punch, and she lands on a chair. Yeah, unfortunate, but we don't know what it is then. So yeah, whoever goes next, go next, because I'm done.
Hey, what did you pick?
I picked the Field of Dreams. If that wasn't, Tate, were you listening? I mean,
I was.
Wow,
that round was like a pendulum. I'm not gonna lie. That was a very good fight, guys.
Hey, you go next.
I was gonna pick $1 Million Baby when you said that it was a sporting moment, whilst the other one wasn't really a sporting moment. But then Chris kind of argued back very well that it basically shows what sport is, and truly that is a sporting moment. So I'm going to have to go with Field of Dreams on this one.
To add, yeah, I was going to go with Field as well.
Thank
I
you.
will say, considering Naomi had what, like an hour of prep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well done, Naomi. Well done for having an hour of prep and managing to pull that out of the bag. Okay.
You got
great
one.
arguments as well.
Last time I had like 2 weeks prep.
Basically, I take away from my standpoint. Go watch The Replacements.
Yes.
Just go and do it.
I actually will watch that movie.
Okay. Now we have Rocky's Adrian moment versus Rush's hospital scene. Are you ready, guys?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Fuck.
And go.
Wait. Who's going first? Sorry.
Sorry, Rush. I'll restart it.
Is Rush starting to go? Oh,
Rush is going first in 3, 2.
Wait. Hang on, I didn't hear that. Is Rocky going first?
Rush.
Okay.
Go.
Right, Rocky is a fucking glorious moment. I'm going to get that out of the way. But Rush is the turning point of the whole film. It's him in hospital. He wants to get back to doing what he's loving, which is Formula 1. It's similar to Rocky, because Rocky wants to get back to what he loves, which is his wife. Niki Lauda's wife is looking at him in disgust, and he sees her, but she knows when he doesn't tell her, but by him looking at her and telling them to keep sucking the lungs out of keep sucking the that shows that he wants to get back to his lover as well, which is the car. He can't live with James Hunt winning the races, and it's not just how they've sort of montaged between Hunt winning and Lauda's recovery. It's the fact that there's a commentator explaining to the casual audience that, you know, James Hunt's closing in on Niki Lauda. We don't know if Lauda's going to race again this season, and the blood's boiling within him. Considering you can't see his face for half of it, his bandaged up, the performance is given in his eyes.
1 minute down.
Wait, is that gone? Done.
1 minute. That was 1 minute.
Fair enough.
Okay, so I'm up now, yeah?
Yeah.
Go.
Okay, Niki Lauda very much in that moment expresses anger and envy and that wanting to beat this guy back. Why I think that the scene in Rocky is a much more profound sporting moment is because he has that respect for his rival to the point where he doesn't care if he's lost. He doesn't care if Apollo gets all the bravado. He has proven it to himself, and I think that
there is a mutual respect between the two. He wants a world championship, which is firmly established.
In that one scene, though. Oh, no. Actually, are we bringing context into it? I don't even know. Okay. Okay. But even in my clip, Apollo Creed, the guy who's beaten heavyweight champion of the world, says there ain't going to be no rematch. Even he knows that Rocky has proven himself, an underdog from the streets of Philadelphia who had nothing going in his life, an absolute bum, has made it to the top. And
wow!
one minute goes so quick.
The thing is, it's so hard to.
You really need to talk fast. You basically need to rap like all the arguments.
Naomi, you're going first.
Jesus.
Right, I haven't decided yet because they're both really good moments because you can tell both that Lauda really wants this with all his heart and just like the passion, like even just with the helmet, and he's just like, please, if you love me, you will let me do this to his wife. Whilst with Rocky, he's just like, I don't care about this and just want to get back to the woman I love. But in terms of the fact that I see more of a hunger from Niki Lauda rather than from Rocky, who's just there to just prove that he's an underdog. Well done, he's at the top. Well done him. I'm gonna have to give it to Rush. I'm gonna have to give it to George because I just see more for Niki Lauda with just how much he wants it rather than Rocky just saying, I want to be at the top. Oh, I'm at the top. It doesn't matter.
I'm gonna go next, and I'm gonna start off my point by saying Rush. Purely because
Rocky.
No, here's the thing, Chris. Your argument, like George really did argue for why his moment was better, and you just kind of said, "Oh, mine is a moment."
That's not true. It's like, but Rocky.
You're like, but Rocky, and he's like, but no, because you have to look at the determination. You're like, but Rocky.
Rocky.
I mean, I'm through.
Yeah, you're through.
Right.
Someone needs to make a feature of just but Rocky.
Yeah.
I have ended Rocky. I have slayed all 4 Rockies.
Wow.
And in the final 4, we don't have a single Rocky clip. And I'm not gonna lie, but at the very, very start, if I was picking out a final 4, I would have only picked one of the clips in here so far. I would have only picked one of them in the final 4.
Guys, if you give me 20 to... If you give me
okay, so for the next... Okay, I'm going to tell you what the next round is, and then we'll have the screen going up, but it is the Warrior final fight scene versus the Wrestler, which is 2 George picks, which means that George has to nominate someone to argue for one of them.
Oh, wait. Oh, we got this again.
And then on the other end, we've got Chris's People Will Come speech versus Rush.
Yeah, so we have representing the Wrestler shall be me, George. Representing Warrior will be Tate.
Oh my god.
Obviously no one else is representing anything. So that's semi-final 1, and then semi-final 2 we have James Earl Jones versus Niki Lauda. That's actually, imagine if James Earl Jones could commentate for me, that'd be glorious. Take it in. Just take it in.
I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Go first. No, wait, there is. Someone got a timer.
How long have we got? I've got
1 minute each again.
We're 1 minute each.
You can intervene all the way through.
Okay, time starts when you begin talking.
Thanks, you.
Warrior's fight scene is incredibly long and it is extremely well done. You've got punches flying in, you've got grapples and stuff like that, and that is the grittiness of the sport. It really does show what sport really is when you get down to basics. These two are not only fighting at that moment in time for, I know that in The Wrestler he's fighting for his life, but he doesn't have to. These two are trying to outprove each other, and they really are fighting for their lives. They know that whoever wins this fight, maybe they'll have a career on from that, maybe they'll have fame and fortune, maybe they're doing it for different reasons. The point is, in the end, it isn't just, oh, I'm going to possibly die here, I'm going to do this and stuff like that. It is those two, in that moment, like 2 tribes going to war. It really is. It is gritty, it is downright just soloed out. The only 2 people who matter in that scene are those two on the stage at that moment. With the wrestler, you've got him, you've got the other fighter, you've got the referee, you've got the person in the stand,
And
you've got the crowd.
There is a referee in the actual Warrior fight as well in the octagon, as you can see in the picture there. Anyway, back to the point. So with the rest of the fight, the reason it's also a fight, it's similar length to the fight in the Warrior scene, but it's also a one-on-one, but it's displaying the older, fragile, sort of not ill, but you know he shouldn't be doing this versus two young, fit men.
In the wrestler scene, he has a chance to give up. In the Warrior scene, neither of them want to, but one of them has to.
Yes, and Tommy gives up because his brother tells him he loves him.
Yes, and that is a phenomenal moment.
And he has his partner walk away because she doesn't want to tell it, and he knows that in his life he's ready to give up everything just for that one moment. There is no prize. To him, his prize of his honour is death. Whereas these guys, it's about money. I need money because I feel like I owe it to someone. Okay, that's a bit of context. Two guys doing it for money, they would never have entered that tournament without it. Mickey Rourke, he's just an indie circuit. There's no glorified cameras like you see in the other scene. There's no thousands of people. It's not televised. It's just a standard bog stand indie ring with one guy just fighting another guy because he wants to do it for himself.
Okay, I guess that's time.
That was really weird.
Arguing against yeah, I can imagine.
You didn't even argue against my one. You just kind of boosted it up.
Not really. I argued for mine. I don't like dissing the other, but I have to if I need to. I'm a nice guy.
Oh man, I really don't know where I fall on this in terms of the arguments, because to me they were both kind of just bigging up their own scene and not really going so much against the other one. Oh god, this is a tough one. Both are great. Both are really, really great. I think ultimately I'm going to have to go with George on this one, but in terms of the arguments, I didn't really get much of a sense of arguing why that one was the greatest sports moment and why it was better than the other one. I'm just kind of going based purely on what I think of the clip and why I think it's a great sporting moment. So I'm going to give it to the wrestler because I think that's more of a personal story when you just look at it from that one character and the desperation, how he has nothing. The Warrior is a great movie, but you know, I'm just going to give it to the wrestler on this one.
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm actually going to give it to the wrestler as well. Mostly based on just the arguing with weak guys, honestly. But compared to what they want, Mickey Rourke's character is doing it because he loves wrestling. You argue that very well against me. That is just part of what he really wants to do. Whilst there's just the element of just, oh, I want to do it for money, and I want to do it just for my own ego from the Warrior, and it was only just like, oh, I love you, brother. It just seems very cliched against wrestler with just, I don't care if I die, I just want to do what I love.
May I also vote? Because I would have voted wrestler as well. I was half tempted to actually wrestler for it.
Hey, you went up against the Warrior twice in a row.
I know.
I think that's
It was very difficult. But now,
can I just say really, really quickly? I love how George cheered at the end, even though it was just up against
it's a win-win situation.
His own pick.
That's true.
This is not a win-win situation, however. The next round you have James Earl Jones, People Will Come, versus the Rush hospital scene.
Who am I
Are you guys
fighting?
ready?
Oh dear.
I'm not ready, but we're going to fucking wing it, and we're going to hope for the best.
Chris, you're going first, okay?
Okay,
3, 2, 1, when you start talking.
Okay, what I think is great about most of these sports moments is that we see the spectacle of that sport, but we never really take the time to sometimes step back and kind of consider why we love that sport so much. And although this is very much set in its roots a baseball film with all the history and all the actual baseball players that are in there, I think you can really take this speech and pretty much spread it to any sport. It is that broad. It's beautifully written. It's beautifully crafted. The score behind it is fantastic too. James Earl Jones delivers it fantastically. In terms of the clip from Rush, yes, it is a great montage, and it does show that determination and that envy and that anger and that power to get back on the track. But sometimes, you know, words speak louder than that, and I know some people may find it cliche and things like that, but I do think that it is done in a very tasteful way. It's very poignant and it is very heartfelt, and that's why I would give the edge to Field of Dreams, purely based on that, because it's so malleable to other sports.
1 minute down.
I can understand that, and the problem with Field of Dreams, as everyone said before, it's just such a generic speech. You see it in almost all sport films. Someone's going to come in and they're going to say some magic and it's all going to be over. Whereas you look at this scene from Rush, and there is no speech. If anything, the only word almost toxic goes, "If you love me, you'll let me do this." That's not a nice thing you say to your wife. And then for him to sit there watching his rival win and win and win, I keep saying it because it's so important, because that is what's boosting him. You don't need a speech. Watching the television is his speech. That's his motivation. Watching that rival get stronger. It's like, no, I need to do this because I want to get back into the car. I love it. I want to win that championship for myself. Whereas it's a great speech, but you can plot that anywhere, and you can't plot that Rush montage in any sports film because it's so specific to Formula One itself. Whereas
because it's based on an actual event.
Yes, but also a car crash burning, you don't see that in baseball. Whereas you could stick that speech.
Stop.
Because cars aren't involved in baseball.
Stop, guys, stop.
Right.
No, you two. Oi.
Handbags at dawn.
How many times have I fought Chris? Actually, this has been
a lot. This has been a Chris and George fight heavy turn.
I have slain Rocky.
But
This has been very exciting.
I'm going to go first, and I'm going to say, for the love of sports, that speech truly does capture what it means to be in sports. And yes, George, yours is very specific, and that's what lost your argument. Yours is very, very specific, and yeah, sure, it's individual to its own film. Yet the Field of Dreams thing, it really does motivate you to stick with the film, whilst the Rush one, it really is a montage. Half of you've got to focus on one character who's driving and one character who isn't. And I'd much rather see them racing both together. And it personally for me, I'd rather hear the speech and think that is such a great sporting film moment. That speech about how the one thing that has stayed constant throughout time is sports, and that's why I'm choosing that one. Tim?
I'm the tiebreaker, as you said.
Okay, no.
Jesus.
This is really difficult because this is like the first time I could actually be supporting Field of Dreams, which is a really good film. But George argued it really well for Rush. And I do feel that actions speak louder than words, by just how you don't need words to show his determination for it. You don't need this convoluted just words at him because he's doing it himself. He's having that determination himself because he already knows those words James Earl Jones has. Like, he's physically saying it to himself. So I'm going to have to go for Rush.
Fuck you.
You don't say that.
Tim, are you sure?
This is it's the final place right now. I need to pick one of the finals.
Choose wisely, Tim.
Jesus, Chris, don't even know. I mean, I watch these things, and I must say the Niki Lauda after the crash one was one of my most favorites. But if I just like think about the Field of Dreams, it's just changing my point of view as well. So it's really hard to get those both and just pick one because I certainly have no idea. I didn't. Yeah, he did. I just read that. Yeah, he did. So it's Field of Dreams versus. Fucking hell, man.
This will decide who is in the final.
I'm not going to sway anyone's vote here. That is not my intention.
Don't put pressure on me. I mean, I joined this stream just to have a jolly good time, having fun.
You picked the wrong episode for that.
I thought I never would need to tie break anyone, but it seems it happens a lot more.
Happens a lot.
It happens a lot, it seems.
Pressure.
You guys just can't argue, can you? I mean, agree. Fuck. And I didn't even mention in my introduction that I'm Belgian. People will think that I'm just a British guy that can't talk.
Francorchamps, the Belgian Grand Prix this weekend, the greatest track in the world, which I went to a year ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
who's
2 days.
Yes, he remembers.
Tim, pick one.
I can't choose. Okay, F1. I'm a really great fan of F1. Baseball. I have been playing baseball. Baseball, Field of Dreams is of the community. Get the community together, but that doesn't mean the community can't go somewhere else to watch a baseball game. But the Niki Lauda. Sorry, Chris. Don't. Sorry, I'm not done yet. Shut up. Oh my god, I really hurt Chris' feelings. But Niki Lauda, after the crash, it's basically one person's determination. I mean, I'm just gonna cut the rope. I can't agree with myself. It's just basically in my mind the two are conflicting here. I'm going for Field of Dreams because I'm going for sorry, George. I mean, with 2 tie breaks, I pulled you through with 2 tie breaks, but the Field of Dreams. It's a whole community. It's a whole community of baseball. Okay, sorry, Chris, for saying they can watch whatever they want, but no, actually, if I think about it, that field means a lot to them. It means a lot to the supporters. It means a lot to the community. It means a lot to the trainers, and that's just sport, just the whole group together with the sports and such. And yes, and there you go. Chris is happy now.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
I gave him a little heart attack, but it's fine
now. You've got another Chris versus George.
You got Chris versus George in the final. Instead of George versus George.
You guys want to see the picture because it's here.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Have you done the picture? Because the picture is up on George's screen.
If I talk, it should go onto the main screen. I'm just going to say that I'm kind of happy Rush didn't go through because I don't want anyone to argue Rush but me. I don't want anyone to argue the rest of me.
Okay.
So I was kind of hoping you picked that.
Very quickly before we go on to that final round, both Chris and George need to think very quickly on what the next episode will be if they win. Don't say it out loud.
I've got mine. Mine's beautiful. It's incredible.
Okay, don't say it yet. Don't say it yet. And
guys,
Chris,
can I just pop in?
Yeah, go for it.
I don't want a tie break in this final, okay? I don't want it. It's too much pressure on my shoulders. I do not want it. Okay, thank you. Okay, go on.
But we
Okay. Chris, have you got one?
Moments, so I can feel your pain if it does come.
Chris, have you got one?
I've got 2 possibles, but I will decide.
I have an incredible.
Okay.
I have
you ready?
2 incredible ones.
There are 2 minutes on the clock, guys. Are you ready?
Who goes first? Me? Wait, 2 minutes each or 1 minute each?
1 minute,
1 minute each.
1 minute each.
Okay.
We'll go with George
Wrestlers
first.
up first, yeah.
Are you ready, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, go whenever you want.
3, 2, 1. Right, Field of Dreams. Speech is incredible, but we're looking at the wrestler. We're only talking about the final shot. Well, I have been. Really, he does cut this incredible promo. He says, this rousing speech before his final match. He knows it could be his final match, which is why he gives this speech. He talks to them saying, though, I will do this until you guys do not want me to do this anymore. It's all about the fans. Wrestling is about the fans. Okay, you guys don't like that. But every crowd reaction and the cheers, you get emotional, you get goosebumps just from that one moment. That's before the bells even rung. After the bell rings, you have a phenomenal fight, and again, we'll go to that final scene. Every punch he takes, he knows it. He's doing it because he loves it. He's doing it because he's willing to lay down his life. Although he has a woman there watching him, he has an estranged daughter, there are people that care for him. But he's going to do it because it is his one love. He's sick and tired of other stuff. I know that's out of context, but he gives a speech, and that's all what Field of Dreams has. And this speech is specific to the sport of wrestling, which improves this moment because it's one of the greatest sport moments of all time. And the ending. The ambiguous ending, where we will never ever know.
Oh, am I up now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, that moment you just mentioned with the wrestler there, you've got all the bravado, there's just so much going on, you've got the whole speech, the fight, everything like that, the fallout. I think the charming simplicity of the moment in Field of Dreams makes it stand out more. A lot of people would say the speech is cliched, but I really don't think it is, because James Earl Jones just commands the attention every viewer, of every character there, and it's that affirmation. And I think sometimes people need that in sports when people are down stuff. I think the speech, it stands above all those other cliched speeches because it is so well rooted into what it means to be a sportsman, what it is to be a fan, what it is to be part of this unit.
It's so cliche to sport because you can have that in any single sport in the world and it's not going to change. Whereas this one speech in wrestling, that's him talking about the wrestling as its own. It's about the fans. I'm going to do it because I love it. If you guys don't know...
And stop.
Chris,
we're giving you an extra 10 seconds. 30 seconds.
I think James' personal feelings to it and is also able to translate that into the fans of everyone. So I would still argue it's very personal, not to just James Earl Jones' character, but also Kevin's and everyone else on that field at that time. And it also translates to why it is the greatest sporting moment of all time.
Okay. Well done, guys.
I want to give a applause for the final. Like, we've gone so far. I've ruined so much.
I thought everyone was going to stand up with a slow clap there, like at the end of Rocky IV. Just like...
I don't know.
I'm going to go first.
Oh dear.
George, your argument was based upon the speech before the film clip that you sent us.
No, it's in the film clip I sent you.
In the film clip. Oh yeah, it was. Actually, yeah, you're right.
Wow, Dayton.
I'm so sorry. It still doesn't change where my argument is going. The moment you were talking about, you were saying that the speech is just a speech, it's cliche. It isn't cliche. It really isn't. I have to agree with you, though, George, in the fact that your moment really does bring together the film completely, and it really does kind of show what sport is all about. However, Chris mentioned that that was the reason why it was the greatest sporting film moment, so I'm going to go with Chris. Naomi?
Okay. Thank you very much, Tate.
It's really hard for me. Like I said, I love Field of Dreams, but these both have really good speeches. But I think the decider for me is that James Earl Jones' speech is mostly for everybody, whilst Mickey Rourke's speech is mostly just for himself. And it kind of does put the two in balance, but due to the fact that is defying himself, and I'm really sorry to him, but I'm going to have to give it to Wrestler.
Oh my god.
Come on, guys, drop a hashtag, don't make Tim decide.
Yeah.
I don't think he's coming back.
Yeah, I was going to say, guys.
I really don't think he's coming back. He's done.
I'm really sorry, but it's mostly just because you can see how much his work meant to him fighting for that.
Okay, guys. So thank you for watching Tim decide on things for an hour and a half.
Oh my god.
Be sure to like, rate, comment, subscribe. Check out our channel.
I actually have a winner in my head right now, so I don't need to. I don't need to like think about it while I'm talking about it. You were both like talking about the speeches, right? You were really trying to get those two speeches like battled.
I did mention the film and the fight in the final shot, but I've done that in every...
You've done that in every fucking argument, it doesn't matter.
Savage.
I'm turning into Savage, George. The thing is, like, the speech for the wrestler and the speech of Field of Dreams. Field of Dreams, the speech is really coming from the heart. That guy is just trying to convince him to not sell the field, and the speech comes out of the heart. The thing is about the speech in The Wrestler, I have the feeling it's like, well, he's talking to his fans, so it's kind of more scripted. Like, I mean, and give the winner is the not the wrestler. Fuck off. The winner is Field of Dreams. That's my winner for tonight. I mean, sorry. Oh my god, that a mistake on the last could just. I'm going for the Field of Dreams just because.
I'm not gonna lie to him. That was a proper Steve Harvey I'm really sorry. I was reading off the card. I'm so sorry. There's been a mistake.
It's Field of Dreams. Chris won.
Oh, thank you very much, man. Can I just say though, George, my
I'm
God.
so proud of myself.
I can see the salt in your eyes, though, George.
No, there is. I'm not joking. It's because I had such a good idea for the next round. I really wanted to win.
What was your idea, by the way, just so we can...
Greatest minor secondary character of all time.
Ah. That would have been...
Well, you know what? We might actually come back to that though at some point, and I've got in mind who I would want as my #1 pick. But I had a few in mind. One I really wanted to do was greatest movie score / soundtrack. But I thought that would ultimately come down to, you know, there are so many great composers and music
Chris,
works.
don't you dare say Lord of the Rings because it isn't the top pick.
But no, what I'm going for again with moments because it's just easier to do. But it's going to be really broad. This one, greatest sci-fi movie moments.
Oh God!
Movie moments.
Movie moments.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Because we did. We did argue like, should we do movies? But I think with clips like this, it's kind of easier to zone in, and we can still bring in context and things like that as long as it doesn't overempower the argument. But I think sci-fi is so broad, and just looking at my shelf, there's loads of sci-fi movies on my shelf, and I think it'll be pretty decent, and we'll get.
I've already got my top 2. I already have my top 2.
And the only thing I have is Star Wars.
I've got like a top 20.
Here's the thing, though: does Star Wars count as sci-fi, or is it?
It does.
Yes, it's science.
Why is there even an argument about that not being sci-fi?
Because it's science fantasy.
No,
Oh wow!
It's still sci-fi.
If you think about that, like
So it's science fiction. You don't exactly know that it's going to be realistic, is it?
We officially have Chris as the winner. Can you all see that? Darth Vader.
There we go.
Can I just say that I had no idea I'd get 3 in the semis. I didn't not the win. I didn't think the wrestler would get that far.
I did. I had the wrestler up in my final 4, and I thought it would be Chariots of Fire versus Wrestler. I thought it would be $1 Million Baby versus the Rocky 4 montage, and I think overall it would be the Rocky 4 montage or Chariots of Fire.
I thought that Rocky was going to beat Rush. Well, it would have if Chris had mentioned Ivan Drago.
Yeah, Chris had a really weak argument in that one, and it shows that arguments really is what wins it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Can I just say as well what the ultimate irony is? Oh yeah, go on, sorry.
Any of your clips for $1 Million Baby, Bend It Like Beckham, that baseball one that got battered. I did see the singing clip from Naomi's pick. I didn't see the what's that boxing film called? The one that should have got further but didn't, but it was poor. The one I hate.
Bull.
That's the one because it's a biopic. Yeah, so I actually winged this, and I'm so proud of myself. That's why I don't care.
Can I just say as well, out of all the films that I had on my list, Field of Dreams is my least favourite. But for some reason, I was able to make a more compelling argument for that one, so that's how it goes. But yes, so I guess final words for everyone, or is everyone done? If so, we'll round it off.
I just want to say I think I've like I have the feeling like I've ballsed this up, so like
you didn't, man.
The last favorites won, so like the more things, yeah.
Tim has made this.
Yeah, Tim, you've been great. Trust me, you've been great. I want to say everyone had great arguments as well. This has been fantastic. I love Battle of the Brackets, and it's good to let out some aggression and some anger sometimes. But yeah, that'll do it for our episode 2 of Battle of the Brackets. Our next one will be greatest sci-fi movie moments. Not too sure when we'll be doing that one. These are kind of sporadic at the minute because it's quite kind of difficult to get all of us together at the same time. But when we do, we'll let you know on our Facebook and Twitter pages. The link to those are in the description below. This Sunday, we'll be going live for episode 5, I want to say, of Timestamp 0. That's the show where we put the vote out to you guys. You get to vote on which film we do a commentary on. The link to the straw poll for that is in the description below. Literally just click which movie you want to see us do, and on Sunday we'll all jump on. We all watch the film together. It's really, really good fun. There'll be more reactions from me. I'm going to edit one up right now after this on the new animated DC Entertainment film that's coming out, the 60s Batman one with Adam West. That looks great. And we'll be getting back to movie reviews as of September. August has been pretty dead for movies, not going to lie, but September it's going to start picking back up again. What, sorry?
Sausage Party is coming out.
Yeah, Sausage Party. Looking forward to that one. I think that's 2nd of September. I'll be at that one. Big thank you to everyone: George Aldridge, Tate Niawa, Naomi Sanders, and the man who is officially known as Tim. You've all been great. It's been great fun. So whatever the next video is, probably be timestamp, or me and Tate are going to jump on a review for 10 Cloverfield Lane at some point. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.